As per the law of divine oneness, all human beings are interlinked through creation. Every single ingredient in the human body is connected to the universe. All human movements are governed with the same approach, shape, or form. It implies that everything people do has a tacit influence on the entire community, not just one individual. Through a collective consciousness, the law of divine oneness binds all of humanity and the ecosystem. It appears that all living beings are connected to a single energy source. When people spread a slice of happiness to their companions, they receive an equal amount of kindness. The law of divine oneness ensures the universe's equilibrium and stability. Further, according to the law of divine oneness, nothing exists outside the purview of divine oneness. The abstract presence of oneness is infinite in space, time, and energy. Everyone on the planet must follow this law to exist and prosper. If people honestly choose to transform their life for the better, they must first learn about the laws governing the universe. The original law that was created can be regarded as the law of divine oneness. It has a direct influence on a person's thought process, aspirations, beliefs, and actions. All of these have an ultimate impact on the planet and the people who are residing on it. As per the law of divine oneness, humans are created in the image and style of the divinity, or originating source, and it shows anything is possible. When people join their source, they feel blessed. All spiritual guides stress the significance of regular prayer or meditation, especially when applying the universal laws. Through a collective awareness, the law of divine oneness binds all human activities and the environment. It says all individuals are connected to a single, unlimited source of energy. Thus, when someone extends pleasures, he gets the same response from the recipient. This law ensures the equilibrium and stability present in the universe. When someone gazes out of the window, he'll notice that everything being viewed is connected through vibrational energy. Irrespective of any provocation, everything vibrates. The object's ultimate goal determines vibrational energy. There are different forms of energy: chemical energy, nuclear energy, thermal energy, electrical energy, radiant energy, elastic energy, sound energy, motion energy, gravitational energy. Because divine oneness unites everything in the cosmos, human thoughts change universal energies and move. So nothing can evade the law. People must accept that their ambitions, beliefs, and actions will be aligned, and they must push things in a favorable direction. When a person thinks, feels, and acts in a certain manner, he attracts either positive or negative vibes into his life. People begin to adjust their understanding of how feelings of wrath, retribution, or hate can cause negative suffering to the universe and the population around them. It happens when there is a sense of oneness. Being mindful of this may help them to shift their thoughts to more positive energy. Love is the most powerful emotion that can remove negativity from the human mind. Love has a very high frequency of energy and draws like-minded people and things back to them. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one state to another. Nobody dies in this world. Living or non-living things just shift form from one stage to the next. Everything in existence is in a constant state of dynamism. Water, for instance, undergoes a constant transition from steam to water, ice, and back to the original state. One may imagine a century-old fort that has been allowed to degrade in natural course. Because of the change of energy and other elements around it, the structure had steadily disintegrated over many years of wear and tear. Due to the energy source that affects it, it has been steadily dwindling. It continues to change shape, one component at a time, until the whole thing dissolves and returns to the cosmos. The energy is employed to build something fresh, because nothing can be destroyed eventually. Vibrational frequencies are emitted by human thoughts, feelings, and habits. These frequencies can be harmonized to attract things into human life. Law of attraction. Since so many people have negative vibes, they will attract similar energy back to themselves. When someone is vibrating at a low frequency, he can't expect to attract positive things in his life. Listening to positive statements in the wee hours and before going to bed allows the inner self to absorb such positive assertions. Affirmations are a set of positive words or statements that people repeat many times to change their mindset and boost the vibratory frequency. Throughout the day, this encouraging message will keep the thoughts on the basics of pleasure and optimism. Everybody should do meditation to connect with the subconscious layer and the vastness of the universe by spending some reasonable time every morning. Meditation has been in practice for hundreds of years. Most of the highly successful people are found doing it. Meditation is described as a key that unlocks universal knowledge via subconscious elements inherent in the human soul. When a person is in a peaceful mind, he opens up this power, allowing emotions, thoughts, and joy to enter the mind. Sharing is the strongest emotional connection one may have with another person. Life will change if a person consistently seeks to give others rather than take anything from them. People don't have to offer money to help others. They have a wide range of skills that they can put to healthy use to benefit others. When high energy flows, the law of divine oneness operates best, and helping others is a great satisfaction. One should be appreciative of whatever he has in life right now. Human beings will never attract more unless they express gratitude for what they already have. People live in a world where they are constantly striving for more. However, when was the last time they paused to appreciate what they already possess? Irrespective of where people position themselves in the universe, the rule of divine oneness demonstrates that all are connected through energy. Consequent to the traits of positivity found in living beings, they will yield supreme vibrational frequencies. It will improve the life of an individual and the lives of those around him. When people vibrate at high positive frequencies, they begin to attract more similar vibes. One should aspire to be affluent, healthy, and happy. For this, attracting high vibrational frequencies is the essence. While the solar system may not be a living object, sharing a constituent with it proves that it is a part of living things on Earth. One can cite the life cycle. Human beings are born. They grow old and ultimately reach the end of life. The adage goes, "Dust settles." It means life goes on. To put it another way, a person gets back to the place where he came from. The circle is full. The Law of Divine Oneness, an Introduction. A child is always on a learning curve. He tries to understand that he is a part of something bigger than his coterie of family and friends as he grows up. He feels that he is connected to everything that exists in the universe. An infant knows that he or she is adored. An elder who takes the newborn in his arms will not be able to resist loving the child. It could be the pediatrician, nurse, parents, relatives, family friend, or stranger. However, the child during infancy does not recognize the parents. All of the individuals are viewed as healers and custodians. There is no such thing as alienation. There is simply oneness. As the child grows older, this sense of oneness grows stronger as they interact with the pet or stray animals such as cats and dogs without being afraid of them. He has a natural kinship with these animals and is aware of their interconnectivity. When a youngster feels abandoned because he is not taken care of anymore, he develops a sense of separation from the rest of the world. This kid will subsequently experience feelings of insecurity, pain, mistrust, rage, and solitude. As a result, he will take a while to interact with people who wish to befriend him. In a child's early days, they express a desire to belong and get accepted. A teenager no longer feels a part of that broader reality because the grown-ups in his life have demonstrated that he must rely on them for love, recognition, and necessities. Then the child craves attention when he feels he is deprived of so many things in life. Separation becomes the child's reality. Several families have a child who cultivates the fear of being rejected by his parents. To regain a sense of oneness or belonging, he will do exactly what his parents tell him to do. He thinks by doing this, he will be accepted by them with a sense of oneness or belonging. Children who live in suspicion and fear tend to lie to their parents. Further, some children do not share their goals and desires, and several kids are perfectionists and thrive at whatever they attempt. If exactness is not achieved, they see themselves as failures. Fear is the worst thing. Children who hide their emotions and who do everything in their capacity to please or displease others are two different genres. The law of divine oneness is indeed a universal law that teaches everyone how all matter in the world is related to just about everything. Humans, the seen and unseen, known and unknown, all reside in an arena of divine wisdom. The parameters of pure consciousness or global mind energy are frequently referred to as life force or God, and people are involved in it. All human ideas, actions, thoughts, and attitudes impact oneself, others, and the entire universe due to this universal energy link. The after effects may be quite subtle in other circumstances, such as when a stone is dropped in water. Even though the ripples in the distance are the tiniest, they still disrupt the water to some extent. How can people find oneness or a sense of belonging so that they do not feel isolated? They will begin to recognize and realize the strength that they belong to a community. They start to build a group and work with cooperation. It can be used as a paperweight or a door stopper, but its applications are restricted when used individually. One may consider all the possibilities if you have a pile of bricks. The stacked bricks in high quantity can be used to construct walls, castles, houses, roadways, churches, schools, gateways, chimneys, fireplaces, light poles, and other structures. To fulfill what people want, they will need all of the bricks put together. A single brick will never be able to do it alone. However, when employed as a part of a larger structure, that single brick becomes extremely critical. It serves as a foundation for the other bricks, but it also requires the support of the other bricks to become significant and valuable. If people work alone for personal gain and believe that they do not require the assistance of others, the single brick is enough. Doing something alone is not wrong. However, living in solitude means not living up to full potential. So when someone extends his hands to others, the self-confidence and skills will be used for the collaborative benefits. The associates and companions will also cooperate by sharing their potentials for larger interests. Oneness is multi-layered and multi-leveled. The law of divine oneness depicts the components of a physical body, which is essentially the carrier through which the human soul travels through the physical reality. The atom is the basic structure of matter. It includes the stages of protons, subatomic particles, and molecules. The atomic structure is surpassed by molecules, which are then exceeded by the cells that make up the numerous tissues and organs of the body. Each realm represents a different level of oneness. The shard, which is generated from the element or soul level, is the lowest sentient unit. It can work in solitude or collective strength with other shards. The elements are transmitted from a source entity created and placed inside the origin and produce endless, true, energetic selves. There isn't any distinction. People have been given varied amounts of individuality to allow them to view things in diverse ways. When individuals understand this, they may begin to collaborate more effectively with one another. They feel that if there is oneness, then everything is also you, me, and them. Oneness is everywhere. As a result, there will be no need for warfare and conflicts. There is no need to show a selfish attitude. Everything will be shared. Individuals will go through everything with cohesion. They would collaborate with everyone to ensure they all grow together. Nobody is competing with anyone else. There is no need for rivalry in this situation. As infinite and multisensory beings, humans are therefore privileged to experience life in more emphatic ways. One should remember the spirit of divinity and spiritual powers thanks to human multisensory abilities. People progress along the return path to develop their bodies and minds to lead lives with divine oneness. Divination tools are prospective approaches that can help people develop a more conscious connection with life from a broader perspective. Further, they will continue to support humans as they progress through the spiritual awakening journey. Several people are allowed to consciously remember and establish relationships along with everything else in life. As people go back to mindfulness, they tend to consciously navigate through life with the support of the divinity tools. It will continue to assist them in realizing their divinity. They are spiritually inspired to restore connectivity within the community by committing to live as heart-centered human beings. Law of Divine Oneness, a phenomenon of incarnation. The incarnation of the divine oneness is the essence that dwells in the human soul, with whom one is closely associated. It is a huge deal and a remarkable metamorphosis that unfolds before all and sundry. People have arrived at a point in time and space when the pretense no longer burdens them to be someone they were never meant to be, that they have reached a stage where they no more require to sacrifice the anguish and suffering that come with being incarnated at this physical juncture of existence. The price has to be paid. Within the human fraternity, an incredible phenomenon is taking place. The misery and pain have become a constant threat. The concept of micro-family is now coming to an end. The incarnation of self-judgment, the divine one of all time, into the very physical boundary is finally starting to occur. The law of divine oneness is here. What a fantastic find! What a glorious splendor! What a spectacular event that is just getting started and is already showering down on humanity. The all-powerful divine oneness is now entering the world. The excellent resistance of incarnation itself is dominating the universe. The sheer enormity and uniqueness of the actual incarnation or manifestation can no longer keep the forces of light and affection from discovering reality. Eventually, the journey of the human body to develop into what it was meant for has begun. The numerous, untiring, and freely abundant energies of the living bodies are getting exposed. It comprises physical and mental involvement, nurturing and fostering the enormous task that is finally coming to fruition. The divine oneness of all time is now well equipped to initiate the entire ethics into the vessels that have been created specifically for this purpose. What is God doing in one's life to create a vacuum so that he can be drawn in the vicinity of divine oneness? Have people ever been turned down? Do they feel like there's a vacancy in their life? Is there a constant cause of annoyance in the human soul that causes one to be discontented? Have individuals ever thought that God has created the emptiness to draw human beings closer to him? One must reach out to God, just like his true disciples. People should leave everything to the Almighty and allow him to resolve whatever prevents them from connecting with him. Humans don't fully comprehend what God is doing. However, irrespective of the human journey and its status, one should believe that God will enlighten his devotees and lead them to the next step. Are you willing to put your faith in God and continue with it? The law of divine oneness says that God is a mentor and corrects the path when his followers deviate. However, people are apprehensive and fail to believe that he will fix all suffering without human efforts. One who believes in oneness reaches a point in his supernatural encounter with God where one refuses to give up. He is confident that God is omnipotent and would surely respond when someone faces a real crisis to recognize self-consciousness, even amid despair. Human conviction progresses from believing to realizing that God will deliver his divine blessings. People realize that they are dealing with the Almighty God, who is above all materialistic issues they may have. Human beings are only in a temporary predicament because they have a connection with God, who showers his kindness to all his devotees. Therefore, the element of divine oneness would always give the best to the person who is the subject of his attention. Will anyone completely trust God and let him carry out his divine purpose through him? People who believe in genuine oneness say that God's essence is only via the law of divine oneness. People look for self-fulfillment in a child at first, but the ultimate objective is to find a way for one-on-one contact with the supernatural. It is crucial to understand human faith in God due to the pertinent belief in divine doctrines. Worship is defined as honoring God simply for incarnating oneness by spiritually comprehending his word. People may feel that God would take care of the rest as long as they do their bit. The human role is to trust God's word and lead a life that can earn them respect. An individual should not get depressed if he is deprived of a life of honor. Eventually, a transformation of faith arrives with divine oneness. People would show their faith by putting their deeds into action. After gathering oneness, people are no longer sorrowful. It's tough to feel depressed while worshiping God. One gradually begins to come into God's shadow through divine oneness, and his power prompts him to believe and achieve the seemingly impossible. Every other human being can fulfill the divine destiny. All people have to do now is to give the correct answers to these life-changing questions. Those who trust in God by heart will come to some agreement of God's existence, even amid challenges and hardship. Only passing time, constrained by grief and suffering, can put faith, which is based on oneness, to the test. The onus lies on people who seek divine oneness. Do they want to be victims of circumstances? Or do they want God to mend their true purpose and destiny? Do people let their pain and suffering prevent them from achieving their mission? Or do they choose to wrap their hands to become self-centered? As per miracles, distance from God, or dualism, creates diseases, despair, poverty, destruction, violence, trepidation, erratic behavior, and planetary volatility. The divine oneness with God offers health, compassion, prosperity, growth, and peace of mind. When people's thoughts and ego tell them that they don't qualify to worship, they create a barrier between themselves and God. By following the law of divine oneness, the misconceived individuals can begin to see themselves as a component of God, to repair that disconnection. Law of Divine Oneness and Yoga. Despite best human efforts to live a meaningful life, the contemporary lifestyle causes stress. People get up, perform the morning chores, go to work, get back home in the late evening, take supper, sleep, and do the same routine all over again. If there is still time, people will engage themselves in their gadgets and devices. Nowadays, people have everything they ever dreamt of: a comfortable lifestyle, cutting-edge technology, and so on. Still, they do not have a peace of mind. They suffer from stress, anxiety, obesity, cardiac disease, and many other issues cropped up due to their inability to maintain a healthy lifestyle and simply be within themselves. When do people find time to relax and unwind? This is when yoga comes into play. For distressed individuals, traditional yogic techniques function in tandem with modern treatment processes. Yoga means union to the Supreme. It combines physical, mental, and spiritual energies that work together and provide long-term advantages that help maintain total well-being. Yoga, in its purest form, is the realization of divine oneness. Yoga can nurture and detoxify human bodies, minds, and souls, and broaden human self-consciousness to encounter the root of all adversities. Yoga and human postures. One may take note of one's sitting position, whether it's on a recliner or the bed. In either case, people tend to slouch, which, while convenient at times, is not the ideal posture from a physical viewpoint. It causes bodily discomfort. Has anyone found himself stretching all the time? Do people use traction to keep the body organs in place? Almost certainly not. Human bodies are primarily bent forward, unless lying down to rest or sleep. It leads to a state of discord in the body. Internal organs and their functioning are affected by physical distortion. Yoga's physical aspects offer poses, asanas, to help regain bodily discomforts. Asanas are said to be controlled bodily movements, accompanied by coordinated breathing practices. Yoga postures are highly beneficial to correct physical faults while maintaining complete awareness. The flow of energy, which helps people manage their thoughts, is another dimension of physical fitness. Negative thoughts must be repelled to attract positive vibes. Human energies must align with the thought processes. Yoga and mindfulness. Yoga is ultimately about knowing, interpreting, and realizing the mind. Therefore, the mental part of yoga is most critical. Individuals cope with mental stress in addition to physical stress. It can be even more harmful than the former. Emotional stress is characterized by inhibitions, obsessions, uncertainties, and other factors. To deal with these challenges, people need to relax and concentrate. One of the simplest ways to relax the human body and restore a balanced plight is to practice the relaxation approaches that ultimately lead to divine oneness. It is critical to organize the thoughts to get control of the mind. One may take, for instance, sleep, which is a type of relaxation and a great remedy. When people dissociate their ideas, thoughts, sensations, and expressions in yoga, they obtain tranquility. One should retire to bed without carrying mental stress and any other mental suffering. It enables people to be more conscious of their minds and to keep unpleasant thoughts at bay. Besides, one should make a conscious effort to become aware of the thoughts impacting him before sleep. One may be experiencing physical stress, plagued by work-related tensions, family problems, or any other mental issues. So he may close his eyes for a few minutes and repeat a heartfelt prayer before touching the bed. This procedure awakens the inner self, prompting people to watch and observe it, increasing the chances of a good night's sleep. The mental part of yoga causes individuals to focus on dispersed energies. It results in self-assurance, a fresh view of life, and a balanced state of mind. Yoga and soulfulness. The spiritual part of yoga, which allows individuals to feel driving power within them, is the third source of energy that many people have yet to reconcile. This energy causes humans to feel, think, sense, and behave in the ways they desire. People harmonize their outward life with their inner being in the spiritual setting through meditation. It is a transition that allows them to connect with the divine oneness that exists within human souls. Meditation and yoga complement each other. Meditation, like the yoga postures, teaches people how to control the mind such that all inner energy is focused on the work at hand. Whatever the situation is, meditation allows people to remain oriented and cope with any distraction with thorough calmness, clarity, and tranquility. It abandons all preconceptions and awakens the power source that exists within. Pause and reconnect. Here, one should take a moment to breathe in the divine oneness that yoga may deliver. People spend a lot of their time negotiating the responsibilities of family and job simultaneously. They will confront various wellness, emotional, and mental issues if they do not pause and connect to their inner self through yoga and meditation. The Law of Divine Oneness and Science. Quantum physicists have demonstrated that the DNA of all animate objects includes the same common features, and that all objects possess the same underlying elemental energy. It is found in the earth, space, and beyond. The distinction is defined by the configuration of those elements and particles of energy. Comparing apples and oranges illustrates the differences between the two common fruits. Apples and oranges have similar basic ingredients, but are structured differently by nature, appearing different to humans. Even still, when reduced down to their simplest chemical components, they share a lot of identical constituents. It is up to people how they put them together, and what they choose that distinguishes the properties. The whole experience of society, the planet, and the universe is largely shaped by combining what one selects in physical existence. One can opt for oneness with God, or the dualism of society. Everybody creates his own reality, based on sheer beliefs and perspectives that align with him and what he wants to achieve. The universal life force, the Source, will notify directly to help people realize their thoughts and emotions from the restrictions imposed by the planetary powers. It does so by opening the doors to view a new horizon. From the unmanifest to the manifest, the root of all existence is pure promise pursuing fulfillment. It is the essence of unending possibilities to one's voyage to eternity. In other words, it is already inherent in human beings and just has to be triggered. People can fulfill any dream they have in their minds. They have their basic essence and can identify their inner self. Since there are endless possibilities, infinite possibilities are always in sight. To put it another way, anything is possible at that moment when one approaches divine oneness. Researchers in the quest for the zero-point energy field are learning that this field links everything and everyone. It seems to hold good in every situation. The zero-point energy field and the domain of consciousness may be identical entities. It has been duly emphasized by the perceptions based on both quantum physics and the rapidly expanding new subject of the science of self-consciousness. The law of divine oneness and the theory of a unified field underpinning all objects as the so-called zero-point energy field are discussed in physics. The now well-known book, The Field, The Quest for the Secret Force of the Universe, published by British science fiction writer Lynn McTaggart, made major precisions on this fundamental zero-point energy field more available to a wider readership. In the realm of science, the concept of a globally integrated field underpinning everything is not new. Some physicists hypothesized the presence of such a fundamental field as far back as the late 19th century. Albert Einstein used this concept to establish his special relativity theory. His idea was acknowledged, and the existence of an inherent global field, or ether, was eventually ruled out. Simultaneously, quantum physicists had decided that there must be some form of space where the laws of regular physics do not apply. They tagged this place a universal vacuum, or sheer emptiness. They believed that rather than being occupied by ether, this area was absolutely vacant. The so-called universal vacuum, driven quantum physics has no resemblance to assume. The zero-point energy field, on the other hand, is fullness, a natural lake of energy. This field does not exist on the surface of reality, where regular physical laws apply. According to quantum physicists, this lake of energy exists on a level of reality that is simply beyond the periphery of space and time. The principle of quantum entanglement, which was initially discovered in subatomic components at the quantum scale, refers to the idea that everything that appears is linked to everything else, as per the Law of Divine Oneness. It was discovered that everything in the universe of quantum particles is closely coupled with each other, resulting in a coherent resurgence. However, it was once considered solely true at the quantum level, and that it bore practical implications at the level of bigger physical processes like animate things. To put it another way, it was believed that a separate truth applied at the quantum level than the truth one knows at the more familiar dimension of reality. However, quantum physics experts have discovered that such entanglement exists at various levels of organizational structure. Within organic systems, quantum coherence exists as a result of this extensive interoperability. The human body, for instance, is made up of a variety of organs and tissues, each of which is made up of trillions of cells, and even more molecules of multiple kinds. All of these activities independently take place while forming the cohesive whole that people are. Consequently, an organic whole is formed, in which the components and the whole are fully interwoven. The relationships between organisms, as well as the connections between organisms and their environment, are entangled. Many recent scientific observations indicate that the entire world appears to be an innately and instantly integrated whole, wherein everything is big and small. Besides, everyone is united in terms of the zero-point energy field. Furthermore, this zero-point energy field looks to be not only a rolling lake of energy in the backdrop of human existence, but also a data carrier. In this field, all of the historical data is reportedly stored. As defined by physics, the vacuum or emptiness is actually made up of incomprehensibly intricate dynamic networks of highly ordered and organizing fields of energy. Physicists are sure that these unseen force fields exist and perform a governing or guiding function in all physical processes, even though they do not comprehend their origins or structure. The emerging belief is that the human mind is not entirely contained within the skull, but is a part of a larger field of consciousness. Transpersonal psychologist Stanislav Grof's study on consciousness reveals that it is feasible to overcome the typical restrictions of the space, ego, body, and linear time during transpersonal encounters. These encounters can connect people to the collective consciousness and provide fresh information that exceeds what people learned previously through established means. Human awareness is not simply a component of the all-pervasive universal consciousness that stretches beyond the person. It also implies that consciousness changes the probability of happenings based on numerous well-documented tests. Consciousness lends order to systems, and human consciousness is no exception. Because human awareness is a part of the universe's consciousness, one can use awareness to impact the field of cosmic consciousness. The radical interpretation has recently taken place among the steady growing numbers of scientists that consciously experience may not be something that pervades everything, but that awareness may also be something that underpins everything and plays a large organizing role in the creation of life and substance. Rather than matter giving rise to awareness, as was previously thought, a growing number of scientists believe that consciousness has always been there, and that it gives origin to humanity. Therefore, everything is based on consciousness, and consciousness is the source of matter. It truly justifies that the law of divine oneness is directly proportionate to universal consciousness. Anything which exists, observed or unobserved, is strongly intertwined with one another in a sphere of divine oneness. The nexus of divinity, or universal mind energy, often tagged as the universal source of energy, or Almighty, is a divine, all-encompassing entity. Everything has oneness in it. Human perception of supernatural power and the subsequent connection to everything will grow as people become more conscious of this law. It is critical that humans as a species begin to recognize and comprehend this law. They will find that what they think of one another should only be positive. When one considers some decency in others, he will think of others as well. All human thoughts, feelings, and actions must be positive, because what an individual sows, so will he reap. As people get a better grasp of the inner meaning of the law of divine oneness, they'll notice how these are all connected, how they intersect, and how they govern the world people live in. Everything exists due to the presence of energy. Any earthen particles, the sky, the pavement, the best companion, and the deadliest enemy, may be regarded as volatile. To put it another way, there is no distinction. How would one act if he has not truly understood that he is not separate from life, family, and friends, colleagues, and every other living person on the planet? That's the answer which is perceived differently. People can simply displace mountains if the entire planet can move at the utmost frequency with love, energy, compassion, empathy, optimism, happiness, and other pleasant emotions. The majority of individuals are concentrating on the lowest possible, and it impacts the remaining population. Everything is made up of energy. As a result, when the low energy is transmitted out into the universe, it reduces the world's overall vibrating elements. One should keep in mind that all living things are interconnected, so any individual vibration has an impact on others. It may be possible that the frequency of vibration varies from person to person, but that energy cannot be destroyed or regenerated. That is what energy is. So when one feels low, he cannot go to the high, since both low frequencies tend to meet in the center. Low energy can influence the rest of the planet. It keeps people from operating at their full potential. And if most individuals are running around with low energy levels, the world begins to be weighed down. When a person comprehends the law of divine oneness, he experiences a sensation like any other. He transforms the way he looks at life after understanding how this law regulates human existence. Since people get to why some things occur, they'll be in a pleasant spirit almost all the time. They are no longer blaming themselves or others. They are more successful in life, and even more aware of their impact on the world at large. According to the law of divine oneness, humans are part of the total, which comprises all other things in life.